In today's video, I'm going to teach you the easiest, simplest way to build a fit, lean, toned body that you will maintain for the rest of your life, while still getting to live your life, while still getting to go out to eat and drink whatever you want a few times per week, getting to go on vacation several times per year, eating foods you love, doing workouts you actually enjoy, and still having a lean, toned, strong body 24/7 through all of that. I'm going to break down that there are 3 specific skill sets that you need to learn in order to achieve those results. That's literally it. It's just a skill set, and a skill set is something that anybody can learn. And I'm also going to share the story of how I achieved those results and how I empowered myself to believe that I was capable of learning each of these skill sets, which ultimately got me to lose 30 pounds and build the sexy, fit, toned body of my dreams that I have been easily able to maintain. So let's get into today's video and I'll show you how. What's going on, Fit Fam? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan Janice. I'm an online nutrition and fitness coach for women, and I teach you ladies how to eat more food, not less, and work out smarter instead of harder, so you build that beautiful, sexy, feminine hourglass body you'll feel amazing in and maintain year-round for life with ease. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Come follow me over on Instagram for even more fitness content. And if you're coming on back, thanks so much for joining for another video. All right, fam, 10 years ago, this was me, 23 years old, and I was starting to gain weight quite quickly for the first time in my life. Now, if you can imagine, I used to think that I didn't like exercise at all. I literally had 0 exercise routine, and I was just like, oh my God, exercise is hard and boring. I don't want to do it. And up until this point, I've been able to get away with eating whatever I wanted and not having any kind of workout routine and still looking pretty okay. But this was the first time in my life where I noticed that I was really starting to pack on some body fat quite quickly, especially in places that I had never had it before. So this was making me feel so unconfident, so disempowered, but I also knew if nothing changed, it would just get worse and worse. So how was I able to get going? Well, the very first thing was that I decided, okay, let me start at least exercising, because I'm not even doing that at all right now. So in the beginning, just like probably so many of you, I just did some random workout videos at home, just body weight, doing Jillian Michaels. And I did this, 3 or 4 times a week, and essentially it was HIIT. And this did help me lose some weight, but I was wondering why I wasn't getting more toned. So eventually this led me to go to a gym, because I realized, okay, well, fit people, obviously they go to a gym for a reason, so why don't I go in there and figure out how to do this? And now obviously you see me and I'm lifting weights in the gym so confidently, but I know that it is really intimidating to a lot of you ladies, and believe me, I used to feel exactly like that too. When I first was going to the gym, I was so overwhelmed, so intimidated, I would literally just make a beeline for the treadmill, put my head down, start walking, and then I would just kind of like search some random ab circuits to do, and some of the time I would spend 2-3 hours in there because I just thought, okay, well, if I just do a bunch of stuff, that's gonna get me results. But I was doing this for months and I never really got anywhere. So I was deep in my research, and finally I came across a book that really changed my life, which is called Thinner, Leaner, Stronger by Mike Matthews, which essentially lays out everything that I talk about on this channel around how to set up your food and how to set up your workouts to build a lean toned body, aka a body with more muscle and not that much body fat. Now that I'm so many years into my fitness journey and I have a lot more education, I don't necessarily agree with everything that Mike says in this book, but the main thing that I took away from it at that time was that it enlightened me that the results I wanted, that toned look, actually just meant building muscle, and that meant getting strong. And it taught me that you didn't need to work out so much. You could actually do just a couple of exercises a few times per week, but what mattered is that it was really big quality strength exercises, and that meant lifting the challenging weights. So yes, I was so intimidated. I was like, everybody's laughing at me. I don't know how to set up the equipment. I don't know what I'm doing. And literally I had to go to the gym multiple times to work up the courage to even get onto the squat rack, because I felt so unsure about what I was doing. But I just followed the steps that he laid out in the book and I got going. And boom! This was the first big change in my fitness journey that totally changed the course of my life, because I went from being somebody who was terrified to go in the gym and lift the big weights, was so intimidated, so unsure about what to do, to completely falling in love with lifting weights. And not only did I start to see some really big changes to my physique very quickly, doing just 45-minute workouts instead of the 3-hour workouts I had been doing previously, but beyond just starting to look more toned, more fit, I got way more confident, way more more strong, way more empowered, and that honestly was amazing. Lifting weights made me realize that I was a lot stronger than I thought I was, not only physically a lot, but also just mentally, that I was capable of pushing myself to do hard things, and that honestly it was really rewarding and addictive in a really good way. So that is the first skill set to learn, is how to lift weights to get strong. And again, I know so many women feel exactly the same way that I did, that the gym is so scary and that everybody's laughing at them, and that they're like, no, I just want to work out at home using my 5-pound dumbbells. But the thing is, you can work out a ton, you can be doing some weightlifting, but if you're not really getting strong, if you're not really pushing yourself hard, you can be working out a lot and really not see any changes. So it is so important that you learn how to train properly. You learn how to really progress with lifting weights and get strong at the big lifts over time. This is something that so many of my clients go through as well. For example, my client Casey came to me exercising every single day, constantly dieting, and feeling like she was just gaining more and more weight. And in the very beginning, we started coaching just using some weights that she had at home. But after a while, I started to realize she was kind of maxing out her potential with the equipment that she had. And I told her, okay, I want you to start going to a gym. Maybe let's just do it 1 or 2 times a week. And initially, she was really intimidated, really afraid, but I encouraged her, telling her, you can do this, you got this. And she started to go, and then boom, she ended up completely converting over to going to the gym 4 to 5 days a week because she totally fell in love with it. So I get that it is intimidating, that it's overwhelming, but it's just one of these things that you kind of got to rip off the band-aid around. And once you do, it's going to be like night and day. You're going to go from thinking that the gym is this terrifying thing to being completely in love with it, because it is just that powerful, just that effective, not only in getting the physique transformation you want, but also just making you feel like a badass. Okay, so back to my story. In the beginning, I just got started lifting weights, and I actually wasn't doing anything with the nutrition side, even though in Mike's book, Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, he also talked about that aspect, and that it wasn't just about eating super clean or being really restrictive, but rather it was about macros, having the right amount of food with the right ratios of protein, fats, and carbs, because it was the right combination of the 3 that was going to help you to lose body fat and gain muscle, aka get that lean toned look. Now, just like a lot of you, again, when I first came across this information, I was like, oh my God, that sounds like so much work, so tedious, and just like it's gonna take so much energy. I don't wanna do it. I'm just gonna lift weights. Because in the beginning, if you have never seriously lifted weights, a lot of the time you can honestly see a pretty good transformation, even if you weren't to do anything with your diet, just from the fact that you started to get strong in the gym and do your big squats, deadlifts, that kind of stuff. You're probably already gonna start to see that you lose body fat and get more toned. But the thing is, you are absolutely going to plateau this after a couple of months if you are not also focusing on your nutrition. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was about 1 year into my weightlifting journey, and I had definitely seen some good results that I was really happy with, but I was starting to realize, like, okay, if I want to take my results to the next level and not just be plateaued like this, I'm gonna probably have to face the music and just do these frickin' macros. So the mindset hurdle that I had to overcome, that I'm sure a lot of you probably think, is that like, oh my God, macros is so complicated, it's so time consuming. But once I actually sat down and just started doing it, I realized it was actually really not that hard. All I had to do was sit down for like 2 minutes and be like, here's what I'm gonna eat today. Oh, it's these macros. Great. Let me just tweak it a little bit and learn more and more day to day. And let me tell you, this was like crazy once I started doing this, because once I actually did it, I realized it was not that hard. And then I really started to see some crazy changes with my body. I got super lean and got some crazy ab definition. So this is the second skill set you need to acquire, that you are totally capable of learning to get the fit body of your dreams, is how to track macros. And at first it seems so confusing. It seems like it's going to be so time consuming, but I promise it is really not that bad. You just need to get started. Maybe for like 1 or 2 weeks, it's going to seem kind of confusing. It's going to take you a little bit of extra time, but after that, you will automatically just know what to do, and you're going to have a skill set that is going to serve you for the rest of your life. I mean, think about it. For your entire life, you are going to be concerned about the way that you look and feel. You are going to want to know how you can change that literally on demand. And by learning how to track macros, you are giving yourself that knowledge. You are giving yourself that skill set. So even though it might take a little bit of time and energy in the beginning, it is so invaluable for you to learn how to do this correctly by actually getting a digital kitchen scale, actually using an app like MyFitnessPal, and really learning how to track properly. So in this video, I'm not going to break down how to customize your macros and how to track, but of course I've made so many other videos, so you can go check that out here if you want to learn how to do this. All right, so this brings us to kind of the midway of my fitness journey, which is where I lost about 30 pounds. I definitely had got some great abs, and overall I was a lot leaner and generally much more toned. And of course I was a lot happier, stronger, healthier, more confident than I had been before I had ever been doing any of this stuff. But what started to happen was my results, once again, really plateaued. I spent pretty much 5 years looking exactly the same, never really seeing much significant progress any type of way with my fitness journey. Really, all that would happen would be that sometimes I would get a little bit leaner than other times, depending on how serious and how dialed in I would get with my macros and my training. And then on top of that, to achieve that level of leanness, essentially what I would do is just work out a whole bunch more and then be even way more strict with my food. And for a time, I was happy with this, but what really bothered me in particular was that I didn't look more toned, considering that I was going to the gym 5 days a week, lifting really heavy, consistently focusing on getting stronger, tracking my macros, getting all my protein, and especially that I didn't see bigger glutes and sculpted defined toned legs. I really wondered why on earth I did not have those results, considering I was doing heavy hip thrusts and I was hitting lower body 3 times per week in the gym and getting all my protein in. Surely I thought that that was enough. Turns out it's really not enough, because the third skill set that you need to acquire to really build your dream body and be able to easily maintain it is to know how to do caloric manipulation, which is a fancy way of saying knowing when and how to change your macros, to change the amount of food that you're eating to both build muscle and lose body fat, in addition to speeding up your metabolism. That is when you are going to really see insane results and see them the most easily as possible and keep them the most easily as possible. So building that lean toned body you want comes down to nothing more than gaining more muscle and losing body fat. And as I say in all my videos, the most common mistake that women are making is thinking it's just about losing body fat and then not thinking enough about gaining muscle. Or even if they are thinking about it, they're not doing a correct strategy to gain muscle. And part of that is definitely the training aspect, that they're not really going hard in the gym, they're not really pushing their muscles to the point of failure and progressing with their lifts over time. So that's definitely a really important part. But I'd say more than anything, the reason that they're not really building the muscle, aka getting the shape, getting the definition they really want to have, is because they don't ever do phases of a calorie surplus, which is a muscle building phase, traditionally called a bulk in the fitness industry, as opposed to a cut. I'm sure you've heard bulking and cutting. Bulking meaning you're in a calorie surplus to gain muscle, versus cutting meaning you're in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. Now you need to do both of these things, and you need to spend periods of time doing a little bit of both to ultimately really build your dream physique. And there's a third phase you also need to do, which is called reverse dieting, which essentially is preparing you for either of these phases and is also how you will transition from one phase to the other. So a reverse diet is where you're gradually increasing bit by bit the amount of food that you eat so that your body will adapt and you'll start burning more calories all the time. Essentially, you are increasing your maintenance level calories, and that you will have enough food in your body to already be seeing that big body composition change. Have the energy to train hard so that you can start to build a lot of muscle and then also lose body fat. But essentially, after you've done a bit of reverse dieting, you want to pick a phase to focus on. You want to either be going into a surplus to really maximize muscle gain, or you want to be going into a calorie deficit to really maximize fat loss. Which phase you choose is going to depend on your starting point. If you're already pretty skinny, then I would say go with the calorie surplus route. And if you still have a good bit of body fat you want to lose, let's say at least 15 to 30 or more pounds, that's when you should be going into a cut. And that is what most people are gonna have to do, because most people have more weight than they wanna have on their body. But then once they get lean enough, once they've taken off the body fat, that is when you're gonna come over here and do your calorie surplus to gain all the muscle and speed up metabolism so you can maintain those results. So that is the third skill set to learn, on top of number 1, learning how to train properly, number 2, learning how to track your macros. The third and arguably most important skill set is knowing how to navigate these different phases of caloric manipulation, aka reverse dieting, cutting, and building. Now, I only finally learned how to do this phase after years of only doing the first two, and like I said, getting okay results, but overall feeling disappointed that I wasn't seeing changes for years despite the effort I was putting in, which is when I finally said enough is enough, and I hired my own one-to-one coach who had the exact results I wanted, who had the sexy lower body, popping glutes, sculpted defined legs that I really wanted, and I realized she was eating way more food and working out less to get those results. So I was like, okay, sign me up, teach me how to do this. And it was after hiring her that I really learned how to navigate these three phases. And I finally and quickly got the body of my dreams that I have now been able to maintain very easily, even while going out to have a cheat meal where I eat and drink whatever I want 1 to 2 times a week, maybe sometimes even 3 times a week, where I go on vacation several times per year and pretty much don't work out at all, eat and drink what I want, and still maintain these results. So just to say that you do not have to be absolutely perfect, like this flawless fitness person, that it's all or nothing for you to get results. That's obviously not realistic. What you want to do is learn these 3 skill sets and build that muscle by getting strong, understanding how to train properly, and understanding how to feed yourself so that you get this great physique, and then it's very easy for you to maintain it even while living your life. So understanding exactly when and how to change your macros is definitely something that requires a lot of skill and a lot of experience. So I would definitely recommend hiring a one-to-one mentor to help you with this process, because otherwise you're just going to be guessing a lot. You're going to be kind of questioning whether or not you're doing it correctly, and you probably just won't get as good results as you could have if you had somebody there who really knew what they were doing, knew how to educate you through each step of the journey as well, and encourage and support you through the process, which is exactly what happened to me. And I'm so glad that I did, because I finally got my dream results. And again, I got it eating way more and working out less. So if you want that guidance, if you want to melt body fat, get that sexy tone definition, and especially be able to easily maintain it while getting to live a really balanced, fun, flexible lifestyle, that's exactly what we do inside of our one-to-one coaching program, where we help women build their dream bodies in the most realistic, sustainable way possible. So if you're interested, click on the link in the description, fill out an application, love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit. And of course, if you're not in a position to be able to invest in a one-to-one coach, then yes, I do have plenty of videos on this channel that break down how to do all these steps, how to train properly, how to do your macros, and then when and how to change your macros depending on what phase you're in, whether that's a reverse diet, building, or cutting. So I will also link that in the description if you want to follow along and educate yourself about how to do these steps. But again, really, it's a lot easier if you have a one-to-one mentor, so I'd recommend doing that if you can. All right, Fit Fam, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you learned a lot, and you see now that really getting fit is not that hard. I mean, yes, it takes effort, it takes consistency and patience, but it just comes down to actually learning these skill sets. And here's the thing, to get fit, you are obviously going to have to put in effort and time no matter what. You're going to have to do workouts. You're going to have to be good with your food. So instead of wasting time and energy doing those things but not directing it as correctly, as efficiently as you can, you might as well learn how to do it properly and then get the best results as easily as possible that will last. So like I said, link in the description for one-to-one coaching and for my videos that walk you through each of these topics, each of these 3 skill sets to learn to build the body of your dreams. All right, Fit Fam, thank you so much for checking out this video. Now next, I want you to go watch this one here, where I'm going to break down these 3 phases, reverse dieting, cutting, and building, in more detail so you can learn when and how to do each of these 3 to finally get your dream results. I'll see you in that video.